This topic reminds me of Oliver the Cock.
How and why?
Bunny, bunny identity.
No, that's a Bonnie identity. This one is
Bunny, bunny, bunny.
my identity. You know, children will experience many changes, ranging from physical to emotional, as they grow into adolescence.
Is that what they call?
So if you have children at home and you don't understand them, they don't seem to understand you, they don't want you looking at what they're doing, they don't want you listening into their conversations, they want to lock themselves up in the room, that sounds like a teenager.
Oh, and that sounds like a lot.
They're going through a lot. Please, don't you ever forget that. Even at 13 or 14, when they're not paying any house rent, they're not paying any bills at all, they go through a lot.
Is that sarcasm or something?
No, it's the truth.
A lot.
Yes. A life coach on this same set told us that we had to learn to listen to our children because they were going through a lot.
Are you sure he's not the same person that said that is here?
No, I think it was, what's his name now?
Miracle?
Miracle, yes. Because they have all kinds of things that are important to them. Like, oh my God, there's hair growing out of my armpit. Ah, what's that? That's part of the a lot that they're going through. But what do I know? Motolani Falabi is here and she is a family life consultant. Was I correct about, what is this?
Oh, yes. Especially for the ladies, when they first experience their period, the menstruation, they're hiding. They're wondering what's happening to my body. Why is blood coming out? What's happening? And oftentimes, these are conversations that parents have not even had with them. But, thankfully, schools are now beginning to teach them, but theoretical. But this child just wakes up one morning with some tummy aches, and then suddenly there's blood everywhere. Of course, number one, there's a place of shame. Oh, I don't want people to see that blood is coming out. What's happening to me? I'm all sweaty. Oh, I have hair, so...
Isn't that... I mean, you said something about parents now, because if they had the kind of relationship they should have with their parents, shouldn't it be the parent that they would go to first?
Of course, but then the question is, do the parents have this kind of conversation? Oftentimes, the parents would say, I want to teach my child these things, but I don't even know how to have the conversation.
Here's the point that I'm making. Just a second.
You must...
Here's the point that I'm making. I'm a dad, right? My first daughter, when she had that experience first, we weren't living in the same place at the time. I was the first person she called.
Because you had a relationship with your daughter.
So that's what is missing. That's the point that I'm making.
Exactly.
Yeah, and don't forget that these times are not our times. In our times, you didn't discuss those things. So, period came, you ran to your mother, yes. The bed is all bloody. I don't know what happened. I didn't pee. I didn't pee blood, I'm sure of that. What happened? And mother says, sit down.
You're now a woman.
You are now a woman. If a man touches you,
you get pregnant.
You're going to get pregnant.
Mm-hmm.
And guess what? I was running away from my brothers. They are men, after all. They are boys. I mean, they didn't tell you the facts as they were. Instead, they made you scared. They made you feel different. But these days, you can sit down with your daughter and have a chat with her, and she will confide in you, and you will advise her. Certain topics were taboo when we were growing up. So I would say that children these days are in a better place.
Yeah.
True or false?
True. However...
Okay.
Yes.
There is a but to it.
Yes, we're in a better place. But then the question is, have we moved from what it used to be before when we have those conversations to say, oh, don't let any boy touch you because you get pregnant? Because these were just rules to guide us from, oh, don't get pregnant. But The generation of children that we have right now, they don't work by rules and regulations. They want to understand why. And it's not because they're trying to be rude or being disrespectful. They just want to understand why they should do what you're asking them to do. Because if you don't tell them anyways, they will figure it out. They will find out. So someone is saying, oh, yeah, my 6-year-old child is asking me about sex, but I think she's too young, so I didn't say anything. I just shut her up. When your 6-year-old daughter is asking you about sex and you shut her up, don't worry, she'll go figure it out by herself. Because the number one thing you wanted to do is to have asked her, so what do you know about this topic you're asking me? I usually would tell parents, never teach your child or never answer a question that your child is asking you when you've not found out about from the child what the child knows about the topic. Because oftentimes they know some things about that topic. They just want to confirm from you, get an opinion.
Correct.
Yeah, of what you already know. So the most important thing you want to do, first of all, is to ask the child, so what do you know about this topic? All you want to do is balance their perspective. Rather than give rules and regulation, oh, you're sick, you shouldn't be talking about sex. God helping, they would then go out and ask someone about sex who would say, you know what, let's practicalize it.
Oh, dear.
Let me teach you how it is done. It is important that parents, have those difficult, so-called difficult conversations. Okay. Because whether you have them or not, your children will find out one way or the other.
Now, is that part of the identity crisis? Or is this some kind of beginning? The becoming a teenager kind of thing. Is that part of the identity crisis, or is it some kind of growing into it? How does it even start?
A child growing into adolescence is wondering what's happening with me. So when we talk about identity crisis, it's not necessarily like crisis war. This is just the teenager trying to figure out, who am I? There's some form of confusion with what is going on in the body. The boy wakes up in the morning with an erection. He is having wet dreams and he's wondering. I had a teenager who was saying, I experienced this. I don't know what is happening. I had to go and learn, speak to a male to say, what is happening? How does this happen? To be able to explain to him. So, but then when the father is not even home, the mother is not home, these children experience these things. They have nobody to have these conversations with. A lot of things are happening with them, but there's no guide. So oftentimes they're talking to their peers. So when we talk about the identity crisis, is these children trying to figure out, who am I? What is okay? What is right? What is wrong? Daddy says this. Internet is saying another. My peers are saying this is it. So in all of this confusion, they are trying to figure out what the right thing is. What am I supposed to do? What aligns with what I believe? And that's where the crisis, comes in. They're trying to figure out who they are. Because, of course, the parents had not said, oh, this is... And every time I come on here, I'm always talking about how the family is very important. And we are the production factory of the society. At what point did the family gather together to have conversations with the children to say, this is who we are? This is, at certain age, have you had age-appropriate sexuality education with your children? Telling them ahead of time that when you're at this age, these are the certain things that would happen. These are the things these are the changes you would observe in your body. When you observe this thing, it's okay, it's normal. Let's have the conversation.
Pause. At what time does one have this conversation? At what age are they when the parents have this conversation with them?
So it depends on the conversations you're having. For me, I would usually say as long as your child can hear what you're saying from 18 months to 2 years, these kids are, when you speak to them now, gone are the days when they say when you have a baby, the baby cannot see for months, but right now...
Are you not the one who told us that they even hear you when they're in there?
Those babies, as soon as they're out, they can see clearly. So what we're saying is because you can't be... For example, we had a case of an 18-year-old child who had a brother, a girl, this chubby 18-year-old baby who's already been abused. And the child was trying to, communicate with the mom to say, uncle, mom, but the mom didn't pay attention because the mother would usually call the brother's penis pin. And that's why we usually say, call their private part by their name. Vagina is vagina, penis is penis. Don't call penis pain. It's not pain. So by the time the daughter came to the mother and say, "Mommy, uncle," and points to the uncle and says, "Bomb, pain," the mother just, couldn't make sense out of it. But imagine that you had always called a brother private parts what it is. If the child comes and say, "Uncle, penis, bomb,"
you would understand.
You will understand.
Yes.
So from that age, you want to begin to tell them about, see, breasts, bomb, penis. Have those as little as 18 months, as much as they can hear you. Have that conversation about their private part, their public part. I remember I was teaching. There's something we call Ready for Life. So we're teaching those children about their private parts and public parts. And I remember that we're teaching the children I was asking them, so do you think your tummy and your back are private parts or they're public parts? And the children said, okay, so based on the things that we've learned, I would say that it's a private part. It shouldn't be seen outside. Now, subliminally, that is changing how they will dress. So one of the girls came to class the following week and said, "Oh, my mom brought me a crop top, but I couldn't wear it." "Oh, why?" Because I think it's part of my private part. It shouldn't be seen because, I should have it covered. So subliminally, you've been able to influence the children to say that you don't want to show this part of your body because we have predators everywhere.
So it's the mother now, in this particular case now, that is publicizing a private part. That's what you're saying.
Mothers want their daughters to look nice and then buy them the shorts, the skimpy, but the children are now beginning to learn that, there are predators everywhere, and we've not been able to totally get them out.
The point is made. I hope some mother is listening right now. But there's something that I've heard from your circle, your industry. They call it age-appropriate behavior. Parents have no idea what that means. I have no idea what that means. Say age-appropriate behavior.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
So I'm going to ask you a question. So if you have a 2-year-old daughter and who likes to play with water or go into the bedroom and, spills water everywhere, would you say that's a bad behavior or an appropriate behavior for that age?
As a naughty behavior, period.
You made the water available. And the child...
The water that I pay water to fetch.
Another example. There was a girl, whenever she wants to poo, the nanny would take her to the restroom, get out a potty, put water in it, and make her sit on it. Now, she wanted to use the potty. The nanny was nowhere to be found. This girl went into the bedroom, now brought out the potty to the living room because she didn't want to stay in the bathroom by herself. So she brought it to the living room, put some water in it, and sat in there. The mother came in, saw her, and was trying to beat that child. To say, oh, this was bad behavior. Now you judge, was that an appropriate behavior for a 2-year-old child who wanted to help herself, or that was a bad behavior? Oftentimes, parents just beat children from being children. You are beating a child, a 5-year-old boy or a 6-year-old boy, for jumping around. Would you not be bothered if your 5-year-old son is sitting quietly all day?
It's a well-behaved child.
And you say, oh, it's well. Would you not bother you if that child is? Would you not even be asking, Daniel, are you okay?
That's
are you fine?
We're talking about teenagers here, who lie, who behave in ways that you're wondering. I didn't say they are. Do you have sense?
When you say lie, this is psychology behind lying. If your
really?
child, yes, if your child knows that if I say the truth,
I will be smacked.
I will be smacked, and they're trying to avoid punishment, they likely would lie.
Especially when you know that whether you lie or not,
so
eventually the truth will come out.
The challenge is they don't know if you can handle their truth. Oftentimes, it's not because they just wake up one day and say, oh, I'm going to begin to lie to my parent. Number one, they probably learned it from you. A typical example that I usually would give is, growing up, we had this people who come to our house on Saturdays wanting to preach to us. And, my mother would say, oh, tell them I'm not hen. And after a while, when maybe a friend of mine is trying to come in and I'm not in the mood to play or have that conversation. I will also tell my siblings, tell them I'm not in. Subliminally, sometimes we'll teach our children some of the behaviors that we see in them. But we do not accept that they're picking up this, behaviors from us. So you tell your child, don't lie, but sometimes you lie. You tell your child it's not okay to disrespect people, but they see you disrespect others. You tell your child it's not okay to bully others or scream down, but you do exactly the same. So these are things that we're talking about. So when you say, oh, this child is lying, is that child really lying, or the child is trying to not break your... sometimes they've done something. They usually don't think through a lot of the things that you do. It's impulsive. They think about it and boom, it comes to their mind and they get on with it. And they don't want to break your heart. They just say, you know what, if mommy found out that I did this, mommy is not going to be happy about this, so let's just say that I didn't do it. Other times they're trying to avoid punishment. But if you are told them ahead of time, which I usually will tell parents, if your child, before you discipline a child, or before you beat a child, or you scream down on a child, you should have had a conversation to say, if you do this, this is the consequence for doing this. Let the child be aware. But sometimes on the go is when the child figures out what the consequence of... In fact, oftentimes they don't even know that what they are doing is wrong. I remember, myself growing up, and someone had come to my house to tell my mom something about me which wasn't true, and I was telling my mom, no, that was not true. And my mom, she just gave me some dirty slap and said, when an adult is talking, you don't move your hand around. She had never taught me that. But she expected that I should just know that when an adult is talking to you, you don't look into the adult eye, you look down. Nobody told me about it. But she just expected that, oh, you're a teenager, you should know. And that's what happened with most of our parents. Oh, my child is being disrespectful. Have you taught your child what respect is? Okay,
there's this feedback from Twitter X. Victor is saying, there is no reinventing the wheel. What happened when Auntie Alero was a teenager is still same with teens today. At that time, teens found out stuff by conversations. These times, teens still have convos with AI and the net.
They figured out things by themselves, whether you're having the conversation or not.
But the identity crisis thing, what should parents, or rather, how should parents identify that their
what is going on?
Yes, are having identity crisis? What are the signs? Because maybe hitherto they just the next thing is just bring my cane, and they just beat the child. But when a child is a teenager is having identity crisis, what are the signs that parents should look for and stop punishing the children for nothing?
Quite a number of things. Oftentimes they're trying out different things, trying to figure out why do I fit in exactly in all of this? Who am I? So this child is picking up certain behaviors and the parents are wondering, no, I didn't teach you this. You don't necessarily, have to have taught the child. This child is mingling with other students in school, is seeing what is happening on social media. Of course, AI is available. He or she can always ask questions. And in the midst of this, they're trying their hands on a lot of things. And some of these things could involve risky behaviors, something that you are not proud of. At that time is when you want to have a conversation with the child. To say, regardless of whatever behavior that I see that you're putting up, I love you regardless. Can we have this conversation? What's going on? So you see a child who says, oh, I want to be a nurse. Maybe because this child had a family member, or at one point he wasn't feeling too well and the nurse was really nice to him or her, and he feels, oh, I love how the nurses took care of me. I think this is what I like. And all of a sudden this child maybe gets into school, was doing sciences, and like, oh no, I don't like chemistry, I don't like physics, I don't think I want to do this anymore. And you are insisting because the child had always said, maybe I want to be a doctor or I want to be a nurse. And at this point they're saying, no, I don't want to do this again. I think I like music, or I think that I want to work in the creative space, and you are insisting to say, no, this is what I want you to do. At that time is when you want to sit down. When this child was saying, this is what I wanted to do, how did they arrive at that decision? What happened at that time? What did they see? What did they experience? Was there somebody in the family who had the same profession, who made them, fall in love with that profession and say, this is what I want to do? And all of a sudden they're experiencing, because they keep getting new information every day. they experience new things every day. So at some point, they just feel, no, I don't think this is what I want to do again. I want to try out this. So when you see your teenager picking up certain behaviors, you want to sit down with the child. Sometimes they just want to explore what is best. So the child, their friends are taking alcohol or taking some substances. They just want to try it out and see what's so. And you will see some of them, you say, I've tried this, but I don't think that works for me. I don't think this is what at that time. But you just I handled a case where a girl about 18, already in university, and she said, I just wanted to see what it feels like. When my roommates were taking it, I took it. It was weed, and I took it. At some point, it felt good, but I just don't think that is what I want for myself. But unfortunately, a parent found out, and they were all over her. And then when she came in, she was just crying. She said, yes, I tried it out. I know that I shouldn't have, but I'm not taking it. I just wanted to experience it. I wanted to see what it feels like. What are my friends, why are they getting so excited? Yeah, about this. So it wasn't out of, I want to be a drug addict, or I want to just pick up this behavior to make my parents feel bad. Sometimes parents, we need to understand that they're just trying out their hands on certain things, on different things. Doesn't mean they're going to get hooked on it, but that time is when they need your support, they need your love, they need that communication going on between both of you.
You said something when you were talking about this girl who tried out the weed. It's not to make my parents look bad. And I'm thinking, when children are going through this, I want to try this, I want to try that, are they really thinking about their parents or what their parents will feel at that point in time?
No, they're just exploring. It has nothing. It wasn't about you.
Yes. So I'm wondering why you mentioned it's not because I want to make my parents feel
because
bad.
The parents had always...
They're not even thinking about their parents at all at this point.
Because the parents were accusing the girl to say, you know that we're religious leaders, and then you went ahead to do this. Are you trying to bring shame to the family? And she's like, no, he had nothing to do. I wasn't thinking about
At that point, you didn't even exist.
You didn't cross my mind. I just wanted to explore.
Okay. So, this identity crisis we're talking about starts from about what age and ends at about what age?
So adolescence is from about age 10 until about when they are in the 20s. Before 20s? Now it used to be about 10 to about 19, but some researchers are saying even because their brain is not fully developed until about 24, 25. So we're looking at early 20s.
Excuse me.
At that time,
19, 20, you're already in university.
Yes, and that's why you find out
where you're supposed to be learning logical thinking and all that, and you are still experimenting with all kinds of things.
Don't also forget that sometimes these children, while they are home, they were not allowed to explore certain things under rules and regulations. So when they go to university, oftentimes when I, interact with children who are in the university or teenagers, it's often about, now I'm free. Now I can explore this.
Yes, they are different people when they are at home.
Yeah, of course.
Very different people.
Because when they were home, they lived by rules and regulation.
Yes.
Don't do this, don't do that. They were not really having conversation as to why, as to the effect. A mother was saying that I knew my son, they were going to school while they were growing up. What I did, we usually would go online and make researches about the brain, about the effect of alcohol on the body. We were watching the videos together. We were seeing how it shrinks, or destroy whatever parts of the body. I didn't have to say anything. When we went out to a party, one of my son, went to meet a man who was drinking alcohol and was lecturing the man as to what the alcohol will do. Now, this is not the mother giving rules and regulation as to don't take alcohol, children of God don't drink, it's not good, and you're quoting the scriptures, that's not it. We're making research. These children like facts and figures. Why? Why should I? So when they see their mate do it, it's more of empathy to say, Kai, if only
you knew.
So it's not a place of rules. So when you're saying don't allow a boy touch you because you will get pregnant. And the girl is wondering, a lot of boys in my class have touched me and
I'm not
pregnant. I know some of the things that the ladies do these days, they wouldn't even get pregnant because they've done some form of
Things.
to ensure, and they say it, confidently, to say, no, I can't. 100%, I can't get pregnant. I've done some certain things to my body that would ensure that I never get pregnant. Now,
whereas the parents are not even aware of those things.
So because that's what you told them. You're telling them if you have sex, you are going to get pregnant. So don't worry. If pregnancy is what you have a problem with, don't worry. I've gone to do some form of family planning. I'm not going to get pregnant because you have not communicated to say, oh, so you have sex with this person. You're likely in another few months, you're probably falling out of this, this relationship, and then you go to the next one. How do you feel? Certain things that comes with jumping from one man to another, but then you're talking about just if you have sex, you're going to get pregnant, and this girl is saying, don't worry, pregnancy is your problem. I won't bring the pregnancy home. I'm just going to have fun, because you have not helped the child to understand who he or she is, and so they go all out exploring.
Sam has this message. It's an email. My 14-year-old son told my wife that we, the parents, don't know what he's going through. Said, I told my wife, really?
Going through a lot again.
I'm struggling with paying school fees, band electricity costs, rising food costs, fuel scarcity, providing for the whole family. Daddy is going through lots of stuff too. Daddy needs understanding from things too. And I think that conversation ought to be had. I still remember fondly my late dad. He said that he called my younger brother and I were under 10 at the time. And that he said he called us and said, guys, this and this, the things going on. Milk is expensive then. I said,
what would he say to
said that milk was getting more expensive, that the family may not be able to afford it anymore. He said, we told him, don't worry, Dad. Whatever is available will be good. So even though the parents, the teens are having identity crisis and the parents are confused with the loads of things that Sam has to go through.
The parents are not having this conversation. So you're painting it to your children or to your teenagers like you're perfect, you're okay. They can understand. But you just feel like they don't have emotions, they don't know what is happening. You are not communicating with them.
So you have to sit them down, have a conversation with them.
Especially when, the prices of things went up. We're advising parents to say, sit your children down to say, this is what is happening. Yeah. This is what our family income is. Right now, we cannot afford to do 1, 2, 3. So based on this, let them contribute. Just don't come and say, now there's no money, this money we're making cannot do 1, 2, 3, and you're cutting everything off. So let's sit together. This is the situation. Guys, what do you think? Let them be a part of the conversation to say, this is what is happening.
As if they're working part of the money. That's okay, that's okay.
That should carry them along, and they would understand, really.
Oh, okay, all right. Okay, we hear you. We understand. We understand.
Wait, I gotta read Sam's email.
The thing is...
No, I'm sorry. I gotta read Sam's email one more time. I was laughing earlier, and I'm not doing that again. So Sam says, my 14-year-old son told my wife, we the parents don't know what he's going through. I told my wife, really? I'm struggling with paying school fees, band electricity costs, rising food costs, fuel scarcity, providing for the whole family. Daddy is going through lots of stuff too. Daddy needs understanding from teens too.
Yes.
And now if this is Daddy, who has a mommy at home, what's happening to single parents? It's another conversation altogether.
All right, so we hear you. Of course, where we anchor this again today is we've got to listen to them.
Yeah.
We've got to listen to them. It's not like our days when we were seen and not heard. That is the lesson today. We've got to listen to these children. They may be going through a lot, what they consider to be a lot, which may not be important to us, which may lead them to depression. So we really have to find time to talk to them, to listen to them.
Okay.
Thank you very much, Mutalani Falabi.
Thank
Family
you.
Life Consultant. Thank you for coming once again today.
Thank you for
At least she didn't scare you. Well, just before we take the last item today, which is our home stretch, let's take the wrap.